believes that the key sticking points relating to nuclear issues could be resolved during a next round of peace talks between the U.S. and Iran. Also coming in, Iran's armed forces have threatened to respond if the U.S. continues its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. It comes from a statement issued by the Army's command center and shared by multiple state media outlets, including the Tasmin news agency, which is affiliated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It said that if the U.S. Army continues the siege, banditry and piracy at sea in the region, they will face a response from the Iranian armed forces. General Katoch, well, the sticking point, as I mentioned when I broke this news, is obviously the enriched uranium that Iran still has. In fact, the previous Ayatollah went on to say that there is no way that Iran will ever use this uranium for nuclear weapons, perhaps nuclear energy, but never weapons. But the current regime, in fact, has completely changed that lane and gone on to say that they will use this uranium for nuclear bombs. In fact, even a dirty bomb cannot be ruled out of the question. How right are the Americans when it comes to having this particular facet of the negotiations, sir, as a nucleus of this deal?
You see, I think the question of the nuclear question has been central to everything which is going on in West Asia. Because I have met the Israelis many times, and I'm not talking about recently, I'm talking about as far back as 10 years. And at that time, the ambassador was very, very clear. He said that if the Iranians ever are coming close to a nuclear bomb, we are going to take it out. And he even went to the extent when I asked him, I said, what happens if the Americans are not with you? He said, we will do it alone. Now, for them, it is an existential threat. And Iran with a nuclear weapon, which has consistently been saying that we will eliminate the state of Israel from the face of the earth, they take that threat very seriously, and obviously that elimination can only take place with a nuclear weapon. So it is, the nuclear issue is fundamental. And I'm not sure as to how even the previous Ayatollah, I agree, he said that we won't make a bomb. But these are mere words. You've got the ability, you will make a bomb. And once you got a bomb, then you are like North Korea. You can start blackmailing whomsoever you please. So it's going to be a very difficult situation as far as the nuclear issue is concerned. But the more fundamental issue is really the Strait of Hormuz, and what Professor Taneja has said is absolutely right. You see, the pressure is now on both sides. Now, if Iran is threatening to open the strait on its own, which means that the Americans have told Iran wants to open it, I'm afraid they will have to do so by eliminating the American warships there. If they attempt to do it by, say, hitting the American facilities in other Gulf countries, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, or wherever those facilities, in Iraq, or wherever the facilities may be, I'm afraid they're going to go in for the second round of bombing of Tehran. So the options for Iran, as in my view, are getting limited. They are narrowing down further and further, and as time goes by, I think they will be in tension. As far as China is concerned, you see, because the supplies are not going to China, China is also very seriously impacted the way India is impacted. But China is going to hold on. They've got enough reserves. And I think they are enjoying seeing the Americans and the Iranians fight it out. Now they are watching. It is something like the Americans were quite happy seeing the Russians and the Ukrainians fight it out, and they were watching. The same situation here is prevailing, and over a period of time, I think the Chinese strength is going to rise. China is not being hurt. China is being hurt. I'll rephrase that, but they're not being hurt as badly as the others. So in this particular game, everybody is being hurt, but America is losing power and China is gaining power. And I think if the situation carries on for a longer time, it will be to China's benefit. Though economically everybody is losing, most of all countries of the global south, especially India and China. Vineet.
You're right, sir. More breaking news coming in. Traffic through the choked